dearies, welcome to another video. It's been a long time coming. This is a time-lapse compilation of Inktober from last year. So I'm just going to be drawing, and if you'd like, you can take out a piece of paper or your choice of paper and medium, and we can just draw together. It's taken me how many months to actually get this video out? Since it's way past Inktober, I thought, well, why not just do a simple time lapse and talk over it. October 2019 for me was about my struggle with an overactive mind, or a mind that generated so many ideas that it actually stopped me from finishing at least my 15 pieces for Inktober, let alone the 31 days. Before October, I set out to draw characters for my comic, The Bird Song, which I have been working on for the past couple years. Breaking down characters and figuring out the plot, that sort of stuff. And I wanted to showcase some of the characters that I've known existed since the conception of the story to characters I had come up with this year. The whole Inktober challenge started off really well for me. I was on track to finish each piece a day earlier, and that meant ending a day earlier as well. I did this so I could create a couple pieces for November 1 and 2 to commemorate the Day of the Dead and All Saints' Day. Let me just right out say that didn't go as planned. I ended up being so overwhelmed by my own ideas that I actually dropped both plans in lieu of tackling the project plaguing my mind. But here's the thing, and why my title is about dreaming and filling my creative bank account. I first heard the term creative bank account from Jake Parker, the creator of the art challenge Inktober. Links in the description for his account and about Inktober, and also about the creative bank account. Meaning I'll have any types of videos that he has that talks about creative bank accounts. Basically, a creative bank account is a creator's collection of ideas. It can be a physical or imaginary space where ideas you have, words or thoughts, drawings that you think of are stored in. It can be anything. It can be a simple sentence, the despondent man in a gray fedora, or it can be the orphan girl who runs around an old mansion looking for herself. The first idea I just mentioned is about a man I came across at a bus stop. He left a very deep impression when I saw him, and I will forever remember the look that he had. And I've always wanted to create something around that sentiment. Whereas the second is my comic, The Bird Song. Both ideas I have used, but without having the creative bank account to record these thoughts, I wouldn't have remembered them. For me, my creative bank account is mostly filled with dreams. Like, literally. I would sleep and dream all these fantastical events and scenarios, and when I wake up, I would remember them. I am not only a vivid dreamer, but also a lucid dreamer. This makes it much easier for me to remember details and ideas some people dismiss upon waking up. With these dreams, I create stories and artwork. It was also my downfall. Vivid lucid dreaming is the reason why my creative bank account felt like it had been filled to the brim. I felt like I was drowning from all the ideas. It was honestly so much to take in that I couldn't concentrate on Inktober. My mind was always traveling to those ideas, unable to move on unless I dealt with it. So, dealt with it I did. Instead of easing my mind, I became engrossed in the new idea. It's a pretty dangerous thing to do, getting lost in another new idea before finishing the previous. This is how projects go unfinished, I think. And the scariest part is that I'm prone to not finishing what I start on. It's bad sickness. I still did it anyway. If you follow me on my Instagram, I talked about ending my Inktober early on after the 9th piece. It was difficult to admit that I was dropping the ball, so to say. I felt guilty for not finishing the challenge. I had to constantly remind myself that the challenge wasn't for others to judge me in, but for me to grow. So whether I chose to stop or continue was up to me, and that only I would be truly affected by it. Other people's opinions shouldn't matter, but let's be honest. We do get sidetracked by other people's thoughts and opinions. But that's okay, that's normal. We just move on as best as we can. I felt pretty down at the time, even though I was excited by the idea that grabbed hold of my attention. I was a ball of mixed emotions and it wasn't the best. How do you get over self-criticism on top of others' criticisms? I don't have a for sure answer to that, but I stay true to myself. I decided that since my mind couldn't work in any other condition unless I tackled a new idea, I just did it. I went for it despite my guilt, and I'm really glad that I did. Having a creative bank account means I can pour as much detail into one thing as much as I want for me to someday use. While I let myself get lost in this new project, I realized it's okay to have too many. It's okay to get distracted every now and again, as long as I remember to return to the unfinished stuff. I think one of the things I juggled during 2019 is having too many ideas. I started a lot of projects I have to yet finish. When I say it like that, it makes me feel bad, but when I look at all the things I've learned because I started all these projects, I feel pretty good. Again, it's a mix of feelings, I say. As far as Inktober 2019, I was able to draw all the pieces I was most excited to draw. I may go ahead and tackle the last 6 I had sketched out in the near future, but for now, I'm happy with the collection. I can take the finished ones out of my creative bank account and empty out my to fill the cup. I think throughout this sort of existential crisis that I had, questioning if I was good enough or if I was doing enough, I was truly able to embrace the idea of doing things at my own pace. One of the wonderful quotes I live by was said by Jane Austen in her novel Sense and Sensibility. I wish, as well as everybody else, to be perfectly happy, but like everybody else, it must be in my own way. I love Jane Austen. I thought constantly to myself, it's okay that I don't finish Inktober within October, as long as I learn through that journey. It's okay that the birdsong is currently taking a back seat if it means learning from a shorter and concise story. By the way, that's what my new idea is. It's a short story comic that I'm working on this year. For this year. It's okay that things are being moved in my timeline as long as I'm doing it because I want to and that I feel it's more beneficial in the long run. I think I get so caught up with the idea of finishing to say that I finished that when I don't finish, in the standard of society at least, it feels half-hearted, even when it wasn't. During this short journey, I even thought that the wall of suck was hitting me. I swear, I'll have a video about this. If you subscribe to my blog, you'll know that I've already written about the wall of suck. Especially if you are a patron, I updated about this, I talked about it. Usually my creating art posts are exclusive to patrons, but This particular blog post was open to the public, so if you want to check it out, I have the link down below. But I will be making a video, promise. I'm just trying to get caught up with the stuff that I had before that I didn't get to do because of this whole fiasco that I'm focusing this video on. Anyway, by the end of October, I felt content with my decision. I felt that it was the right thing to do for me. And because I did this, I had time to tackle writing, which is something I hadn't been able to do in a while. I got back to writing more blog posts. I spent more time creating character sheets for my new idea. I wrote out half the script for my new idea, which is basically a volume. I suspect at most 3 volumes worth of story, which is like 1/3 of what TBS would be. I published a light novel on Timelapse. I also published a novel I'd finished 2 years ago, or sometime 2 years ago. I can't even remember when I finished it at the top of my head, because it's been that long for me. But yeah, even though I started on something new, it gave me time to spend on old projects. It even allowed me to look at TBS from afar. Writers and editors will tell you to set aside your story for at least a month to get a better objective view of it. Fresh eyes. And honestly, that always works for me. Time spent away from projects you deem as your babies can be quite the blessing. I can comfortably say that my creative bank account, as well as my vivid lucid dreaming, is in good balance at the moment because of the decisions I made. It also helps me look at my Inktober pieces in a new light. I just want to add that I enjoyed every piece I was able to finish. I was excited for Inktober. I even said it on my previous video, I think. I really like how I challenged myself with each piece, which is why I decided to do this video still. And I'm excited to have shared details on this journey on my Instagram and on my website at the time. If you're interested to see some of that journey, I'll have the link in the description below. It might give you some peace of mind, maybe. I was pretty diligent about recording my thoughts during this time because I felt that it could be of use for others who may be going through, will be going through, or have gone through something similar. If you enjoyed this bit of rambling, be sure to like this video. I'm thinking of doing another video for November, December, both together, since I also have videos for that month. So that will maybe also be dropped within February. Hopefully, so that I can catch up with all my videos. Please keep a watchful eye on my updates. You can do so by subscribing and pressing on that bell notification. For the full time lapse of all Inktober pieces, check out the card link above. It's about an hour long. It was too much for this video, so I thought that I would just show a bit and also give you guys the 1 hour long time lapse. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Bye!